Hello everyone, Jak Syn here on behalf of TourFiend.com and Future Daze, and today it is another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today I am sitting with Matt of Orkla Drive. How you doing today, Matt?
Man, I'm so great. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to the community. Thank you very much, guys. And I hope that we will have fun tonight. Tonight for me, because it's today for you. You just start your day.
And you know what, that's good because, you are 9 hours ahead of me in the future. So I'm talking to somebody in the future right now. So that's pretty awesome, right?
This is it. I'm in the future. No, I'm like Marty in Back to the Future, man. We are traveling the time. We're having fun.
That's awesome. Well, I look forward to talking to you today and finding out more about your story and showing your story to the rest of the world. So without further ado, we'll jump into the questions. Are you ready to get into it?
Man, I'm so ready.
Tell us about Orkla Drive and your debut release.
Orkla Drive is a 100% child of the 80s. I grew with so many references from the 80s, movies, music. So I was completely forged in this culture. This decade is so inspiring to me. When I work on the sound, I always have a movie in my head. So everything is about the 80s for me. And I'm so happy because I'm born in 1986. So I was maybe a bit young to live in the 80s and understand what is happening there. But when I lived on my youth, I discovered all the movies, all the good tracks, and everything from the 80s. So everything is in my head, and when I'm composing music, Orkla Drive is working just with all this 80s scene in my head. It's a project which was born like almost 3 years ago when I finally decided to work on an album. So I always made music, but just for fun. And after a few months, I've decided to release my first EP. But you have to know something that I've composed 15 songs, and from those 15 songs, I decided to just select 4 tracks because I'm very demanding to myself, and I had to choose the greatest 4 tracks for that album. So there are like 11 lost tracks. I think that those 4 tracks which are on my EP are the greatest tracks. So for me, this EP represents a lot. It's like an achievement for me, and a test also. So it was so important for me to select the greatest 4 tracks and to give the best.
Well, that's awesome because, I've heard your EP. I love it. I think it's very dynamic. I think it's very feeling oriented. When you listen to it, you get this, yes, you get this cinematic element, but you also get this very futuristic feeling when you listen to it as well. It's very fluid with its sound, and I think that's what kind of hits on a really great level is that your sound is very fluid and it's very experimental, but it's also very cinematic in a way, and I think that's what speaks to a lot of people.
Okay, man, you just tell what I wanted to do. This is the most important thing. I think that you're telling that it's very cinematographic. This is completely when I was telling you before that I'm was forged and I grew up with 80s movies. This is completely it. I had like Terminator in my head. I had like Back to the Future in my head, and I was composing all the sounds, thinking about all this about all those movies. And this is completely exactly what I wanted to do.
Exactly. It's really great that we have all of these movies that inspire us to create this amazing sound that we have in the synthwave community. A lot of people out there have been inspired by a lot of these films over the years. I remember, like what you were saying earlier, is that you were born in 1986. I was also born in 1986. So I totally understand. I mean, as I grew up, I remember little things from the 80s, like little things, because I only had like 4 years in the 80s. But then when I got into the 90s, and you're like 5 years old, 6 years old, you get to explore all of those amazing things that came before, you know. And I had a lot of VHS around the house when I was younger. So I, you know, played a lot of videos, watched, you know, I had like RoboCop on VHS. I had like Terminator on VHS. Like I was, you know, even all the Disney stuff, all these Disney movies on VHS, like I had. And it inspired me as I grew up, you know, as I grew into an adult. All of those things inspired me as a young child. Even though those movies were rated R and they were restricted for a lot of young kids to see, it seems like a lot of those rated R movies, like that came from the 80s, which were amazing, were the things that inspired a lot of us as we got older. I think that they inspired a lot of artists like into today, especially in the scene, with what they create, because a lot of them just love the music that was done.
You're so right. I think movies and cinema is just a big part of music in this world industry of music. Yes, it's a very, very important.
You're definitely right, because life imitates art and art imitates life.
I can say better.
What would you say was your favorite part about working on your debut album?
That's a tough question. Every single moment is very special when you work on an album. When you start to work on it, you don't know where you are going. When you start it, you are doubting about it, what you're doing. You don't know if you're wrong or right. You are like a bit lost. But it may sound weird to you, but I definitely prefer the moment when I choose the 4 tracks and finish this EP. And at that very moment, I could tell to myself that it's exactly what I wanted, and that represents to me so much. This is the part which I think I prefer, because I saw the accomplishment of something I was trying to do since many years, because I've already tried to make something 2 years ago, and I didn't do that. And this EP is just a real achievement for me. So it was such a nice moment for me to choose those 4 tracks and to tell to myself that, okay, I've done it. This is one of my goals. I finally reached it, and I can go ahead, you know, and try other things maybe. But this is the part I think I prefer the most on that album.
And you know what, those 4 tracks, they were really well done. Like, you could tell that you had a lot of feeling behind it. Like, you put a lot of work into those 4 tracks. You definitely could tell that, because it comes out in the music. But it's great, you know, like when you start on creating an album, or you start on creating music for an album, you don't have any particular map to go off of. Like, you don't know which way you're going to go. So it's all about feeling and what inspires you in that moment in time. And who knows, like what you were talking about earlier, those other 11 tracks, who knows, we may hear them one day. You never know. But a year from now, you may go back and go and listen to those songs again and say, I maybe want to put some of those songs in another release. But who knows, you may come out with other music that's even better. But the 4 tracks you did put in this album are, like I said, they're really solid tracks. They're really good. The sounds are great. The emotion is there. The dynamic is there. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to love about this album.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot to me. You know, when I have this kind of persons who tell me this kind of thing, it's just going into my heart. Really, I'm not joking, but it's really, really important to me. As a music lover, it means really a lot to me that you're telling me that you liked my album, and especially your opinion is important for me, because you know very well music. I saw what you did. I saw your videos on YouTube. And I know that a guy like you knows many things about music, and when you're telling me this kind of things, it means a lot to me. So thank you again. I'm so happy that you like this album, and I hope that people will just feel the same as you.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, that makes me feel really good right here in my heart. I really feel it. Thank you so much. I mean, all I know is this, is that as long as we have the drive to create music and create awesome things in the world, then there will always be a place to talk about your story. Always, definitely. Because that right there is what's most important. The story, the story behind all of the hard work you put into creating your craft and honing your craft as an artist.
Yeah, this is the most important thing. I think you have to be the person who you are, and don't forget that you have to go ahead and don't think about what people are saying about you. Just do what you want to do and make it well, and that's the most important thing, I think.
What was the drive behind getting you into making music?
So I'm trying to be quick, but I have a nice story about that. So uh, to start, I always was into music. You know, when I was in high school, I used to play in bands, you know, garage bands. I played some emo, then I played some metal. So I always played rock music. You know, for me, rock music is just the greatest. I always created music, I always composed music, but I had a terrible voice, you know. I think you can hear it. So I never had the opportunity to record an album. So I had to think what kind of music I can play or what music I can compose to finally reach my goal, which were what I told you before, making an album. So I was always into music, and this is what drive me into synthwave music. This is how I felt in synthwave music. It all happened in 2011. At that time, I was studying law, and my brother and I created our own clothes brand. So we were selling like t-shirts, caps, sweats, you know, all that stuff. And one day, one of my best friends called me and asked me to be a sponsor for a party in a famous club. So of course, I immediately accepted that proposition. And so a few days before that party, my friend told me that the main artist uh, canceled the show, so that there will be another guy. And guess who was that guy? It was just Kavinsky. So in 2011, Kavinsky wasn't that famous, you know, it was just the beginning of Kavinsky. So I think that, to be honest, I think at that time, I never heard about that guy, and I never heard any one of his songs, I think. So as the main sponsor, as you can imagine, we were treating like VIPs, you know. I hate this word. I'm not like, I love VIPs, I hate that. But we were treated like VIPs. So that night, we have a crazy night because we had a dinner with Kavinsky. You know, we spent like 2 hours speaking about music, speaking about DJs, about his movies, because he's also an actor. I don't know if you knew that he played in some movies before doing music. Did you know that?
I did not know that. No, I did not.
Okay, so he used to play in those movies, and so we had a lot of talk, a really good time. This guy is really funny. So he told us many stories about Justice, the band Justice. I guess you probably know, you know. So because he's very close to Gaspard Augier and Xavier Doronnet, the two members of Justice. So we had a really good time. He talked to me about a lot of things, a lot of stuff. And then we went at his apartment, and just before the party, we listened to a lot of tracks, a lot of music, and we listened to many tracks, and I didn't knew that those tracks were his tracks, you know. That night we had a nice time with Kavinsky, and then we went partying. And when he started his music, you know, I just became crazy. You know, I don't know what happened to me. it was like a slap in my face. I never heard that kind of sound before. As I told you, I was more in rock music, and when I heard that, I say to myself, okay, man, this is what I have to do. Synthwave music, man, this is just amazing music, and just try to do the same as Kavinsky. So that was what drive me into music.
And you know what? That's a great story right there. That right there is a great story. I mean, coming from a rock background, that was the thing. Me, when I was younger, when I was in high school, I was in a rock band. It was funny how that happened because I got into this band. We didn't have a singer, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll start singing. So I started singing for the band. We went on, we did shows, we played a lot of shows too. Over the years, you know, I had another band, you know, went on tour, stuff like that. But then it was around, I guess you could say it was almost around the same time as like 2010 for me, when I started discovering, like, before it was even called synthwave or whatever. You know, I was, you know, retrowave music, you know, and then, you know, you stumble onto more and more artists as the years go on, and then you start realizing, like, oh my God, this is starting to start a big trend. Like, things, like, people are starting to create this music that was heavily inspired. But you have seen a jump, like a transition, if you will, from the way that it used to be 10 years ago as to where it is now. And you have a lot of artists who are blending this style of music with other styles of music as well. Because at 10 years ago, it was very traditionally 80s. It was very 80s sounding, like that's the way it was. But now it's like you have people who are blending this style of music with metal music, with rock music, with hip hop, you know, with indie, with post punk. You have that blend, and I think it's helping to expose larger audiences to its sound, because you get more of those melodic tones and a lot of that stuff too. But I think it opens up to a larger world, and you know, I see that you have little inspirations from here and there too. I mean, you being able to spend time with Kavinsky at that moment in time, I'm sure was just amazing. And that's what, and having that help you down your journey of the kind of music that you wanted to create, like especially when you saw him live. You know, I know for a lot of us too, especially a lot of like artists here in America who are into this style of music and from all around the world, never had that chance to hang out with Kavinsky, you know. So they heard that their first exposure to that kind of music was through the Drive soundtrack, you know. But being able to see Kavinsky for the first time and be exposed to him 9 years ago, I'm sure that was just a bucket list moment for you, like a great moment for you.
Definitely, it was amazing. And as you tell something very important, that at this very moment, Kavinsky wasn't that famous, because it was in April 2011, and the movie Drive, November 2011, it came into theater, the movie Drive. So when I had that dinner with Kavinsky, he wasn't that famous, you know. He even told us that he was thinking about stopping music because it doesn't work, you know. He told us that he composed that song Night Call with one of the guy of Daft Punk, and he was really thinking that this song is going to make him famous, you know, to render him famous, but nothing happened, you know. And so he was really thinking to stop music, and then a year after, the guy is like a rock star, you know. So this movie just made him blow up, you know. That was just crazy. And to have that moment, to share that moment with him before he was famous, was even more nice to me, you know, more exciting to me, because I knew that guy before he became famous.
And that's great, because you get to speak to him as a regular person, get to find out who he is as a regular person. I know sometimes when people, you know, with fame and notoriety that happens as artists get larger and bigger, you know, people feel like they can't speak to some of these people on a regular level. But a lot of the time you can. You just have to realize that these are just normal people living normal lives just as well as you and I. And I think that it's really great that you got to have that time with him. So thank you for sharing that with us.
I'm glad to share this story with you, and I hope you liked it.
I loved it. And I know a lot of other people out there love it too.
Oh yes, the movie is crazy.
What are you looking forward to accomplishing most moving forward?
That's also a tough question because there are so many things I have to work on, you know. But I think that nowadays I have to work more on social medias, try to get closer to the synthwave community. You know, I'm just starting, and I'm not saying that I want to become famous or something like that, because this is not my goal. But I really want to be closer to the audience. You know, I want to share my music, to procure them some pleasure listening my music. And this is I think the most important part of making music. I think you're composing for you, for your own pleasure, but also to share with people. So yes, I think that I have to work maybe more on the social medias, trying to have more contacts with people around the world. You know, that's just crazy. Even if I just released my EP like 4 months ago, I had some nice messages from guys from Japan, from Australia, and I wasn't expect that. You know, that you're reaching some people all over around the world, and so that was so crazy to get those messages, and I can't even expect better than this.
And that's great, you know, like wanting to reach new audiences, wanting to expose your music to all of these new places. I think that the one thing about this community and this type of music, this genre, the community are very accessible. And, you know, getting your music out there to everybody, I think, is a really good, realistic goal. And I think a lot of people out there are really going to love it. And I think that's very important, like reaching them and talking to them and helping to expose them to your sound. That right there is definitely very important. So everybody out there, if you haven't checked out Orkla Drive, be sure to, because his debut release, it's amazing. Right here on this show, I am telling all of you to go check it out. It's 4 tracks that you can find it everywhere. It's available on Bandcamp. It's out on all major platforms. So if you get a chance, go check it out, listen to it, listen to all 4 tracks in their entirety, because they are some very good stuff. So everybody out there, go and check it out as soon as you can, because you will love it.
Thank you, man. I'm again so happy that you're saying those words. It means a lot to me. And I hope that my community will expand, and maybe, who knows, one day I will have the chance to play a live show. Maybe one of my dreams. Yes, also another goal I would like to reach. Yes, to perform in live.
I would love to see you perform live. I would love to see you do some shows. I would love to see you go do a tour. I would love to see that. And I think those are some realistic goals too. I know with everything going on in the world right now and entertainment kind of being shut off at the moment, I mean, people are doing live streams right now. People are doing live stream DJ sets. People are doing, like, even these interviews, like we're doing that. That's what kind of keeps us going. You know, I know for us back here at home, like, we can't do our Nightwave or a San Junipero or a Future Daze events here. We can't, you know, play to these large crowds and DJ this music to everybody. But we still have those live streams to kind of help us, you know, show what we can do to the rest of the world. And I think that's what's great. And I think, like, once things return back to normal, or what we consider our new normal, I think that people are really going to love being able to see you perform live.
I would love to. You know, I think that performing in live is such a great experience. I'm so jealous when I see artists on live performing, because this is the real connection with people. You know, when you listen to music on your mobile, on your iPod, I don't know, you don't share the same things.
You don't share the same feelings as that you would on a live show. You wouldn't have those same feelings. But I think for right now, I think that whatever we can get, whether it's, you know, online presence or whatever, especially now during the pandemic, I think, you know, it's important for us to do all that we can to try to connect with those fans out there, because, you know, that's the energy. No matter what kind of energy that we're putting out, whether it's on live streams or if it's like doing interviews, whatever, or just doing just talking to people live, I think that as long as we're putting out that energy to the rest of the world and the rest of the universe, I think that people will respond very, very well to it. I think that they definitely will. And a lot of them out there, a lot of people out there, myself included, I cannot wait until we can get back out into a live setting and perform again and come together again, give each other hugs, talk to each other in a regular setting. I miss that. I miss that personal connection with everybody. But I also know that we have to be safe, especially during this time. But I will let everybody out there know right now, as soon as this is safe to do again, as soon as it is safe to get together again, we will have some amazing events. We will be able to get out there and party again like we did before. And when it happens, it will be amazingly awesome. I know.
Yes, you're so right, man. You're so right.
What positive message would you give the world?
We're living in such a crazy world, I think, right now. Crazy times, I mean, not crazy world, but crazy times. Things are going so fast. You don't know what can happen. Sometimes life can be cruel, and sometimes life can be wonderful. So maybe I'm saying it because I'm a new father since 10 months, but I would say that maybe people should focus more on basics and important things. I mean, trying to stay healthy, take care of yourself, take care of our families, take care of our friends, and listen to more synthwave music, I think. And if you really focus on those things, I'm sure that your life will be amazing. So focus on the most important things.
Exactly. Wise words right there, everybody, from Matt from Orkla Drive here. Focus on the little things. Those are what's important. Get back to the basics. Get back to the basics, especially right now in the world with everything happening. It's time that we look inward, find our inner power, find our inner strength, and build off of that. And really just make some amazing creative things if you can. Like, focus on those things. Put your heart and your soul into whatever that you are creating. So to everybody out there, listen to more synthwave music. Listen to more synthwave music. Right here from Matt, listen to more synthwave music. Discover more rad artists out there. Find as many playlists as you get your hands on. Look at as many YouTube videos as you can. Support all of these amazing artists out there that are really pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into their music, just like Matt here, what he's doing with Orkla Drive, because he is going some amazing places. So thank you so much for taking this time to sit down and do this interview today, Matt. Thank you to everybody who took the time to sit down and watch us have this conversation. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our Fiend YouTube channel, as we have many more awesome artist interviews on the way, just like this one. So thank you so much, Matt. I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.
Thank you so much, Jack, again, for giving me that opportunity to speak to the Synthwave family, because we are a family, I think, and I'm sure we're going to grow and grow and grow and grow.
You're definitely right. We are one big happy family, and we are growing every single day. And to everybody out there, keep creating, keep building, keep honing your craft, keep doing amazing things wherever you're at in the world, because they are making a difference, they are making a change, and they are helping a lot of people every single day. Everybody out there, be sure to check out Orkla Drive and his debut album on all streaming platforms, on Bandcamp. Get out there, check it out. You're really going to enjoy it. So from me to you guys, dream it, build it, and let it grow. I'll see you guys soon.